Harry's Wife, Part 78.5, Under My Control, Photo Analysis. As you know, the narcissist must pursue the prime aims: control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. Control and fuel are the two most important aspects of that. Without them, we, the narcissist's founder. We have to control everybody that comes upon our radar, and we do so through the three assertions of control. If you want to know what they are and to understand them in greater detail, use the link to the Knowledge Vault in the video description to this video, and go to the Knowledge Vault and find the three assertions of control. It's inexpensive, but is a lifesaver, enabling you to understand how it is the narcissist asserts control over you and everybody else. Some narcissists, the majority, being lesser or mid-range, assert this control instinctively and in an unaware fashion. The greater and the ultra do so in the full knowledge of what we are doing, and it is done in a calculated fashion. The assertion of control is fundamental, and everybody and anybody that comes upon our radar must have control asserted over them in one of the three assertions of control. Of course, the extent to which we apply our resources and assets to achieve that will depend upon the situation, and in particular the status of the individual in terms of where they fit within the hierarchy. Tertiary sources are the least important. Those are strangers and acquaintances. Secondary sources are of increasing importance. Family members, friends, colleagues, neighbours are non-intimate secondary sources. Intimate partner secondary sources, someone we're just starting dating, a mistress, a side piece, a booty call, they are of increased importance because of the intimate nature of the fuel provided. And at the top of the tree is the intimate partner primary source, who also, alongside as former intimate partner primary source, provide the most potent fuel. The intimate partner primary source, of course, caters to much of the prime aims. Lots of residual benefits, lots of character traits, lots of fuel, and therefore is the most important person to control. And therefore, the narcissist utilizes a variety of different manipulations dependent upon the school of narcissist that they are in order to assert that control. And Harry's Wife is no different. As a mid-range narcissist, guided by her unconscious narcissism, she needs to assert control over everybody that comes upon her radar. And of course, through this excellent series, I've provided you with lots of different ways in which this is done. Here, we see the manner by which she asserts control through this photo analysis over the intimate partner primary source, which is Prince Harry, her spouse. He is the main provider of the prime aims, the main provider of residual benefits, character traits, and fuel. And therefore, even though he is in a sustained devaluation, he still has to be very much controlled. And the series of photographs that I'm going to analyse for you demonstrate that control in action, whilst also telling you what is going on under the surface. So, let us begin with this analysis of Under My Control. Our first photograph shows Prince Harry and Harry's wife as they are about to board a plane. Harry is looking into the distance, perhaps looking towards individuals that are waving them off, or thinking, is that the runway? It's grey. With my crayons, I've always coloured them black. Perhaps I'll do grey in future, similar to this crumpled suit that I'm wearing. Of course, next to him is Harry's wife, and once again, she has caught the camera staring straight down the lens. This, of course, is guided by her narcissism. In some instances, she will just do it. She will instinctively seek out the camera. In other instances, her narcissism will tell her to seek out the camera. Look for it, find it, make sure you gaze into it. She doesn't know why she's doing it. She doesn't know that she's doing it for control. She doesn't know that she's doing it for the purposes of fuel, etc. She just believes that she's doing it because it's important for her to be noticed. In this picture, however, we are able to see the control that is being asserted over Prince Harry. Note the hand-holding, the grip of doom. There as she's squeezing his fingers. It's not palm to palm. Perhaps Harry's trying to escape a little here. But that grip of doom has appeared with her hand wrapped around his fingers, leading him. Come on, Harry, onto the plane. That's a good boy. Once inside, you can take your trousers off. Come on in. There'll be a bonio waiting for you inside. There's a good Harry. Good boy. Leading him in. But of greater consequence, of course, is the look upon that face. The smirk. The self-satisfied smug look of the controller in action. Look what I've got and you haven't. He is under my control. Remember, she's not actively thinking to herself that she has Prince Harry under control. Her narcissism won't allow it. But instead, it isn't able to mask that smug, self-satisfied look, which demonstrates that it's all about her. She's not looking at Harry to make sure he's okay or looking at him lovingly, but instead she seeks out the camera. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the one that's in charge. I'm the one that's leading him forth. Although she's not actively thinking those things, that is what is going on in the unconscious, because her narcissism is maintaining that Harry is under control and you, looking at me, are under control. You're the world. Looking at me, I'm the cat that got the cream. I'm D-list actress that got the prince. I'm better than you. And that manifests, that sense of superiority, that sense of being above everybody else, manifests by way of that smug look. The slight turn of the head, no warmth again in the eyes, the smugness of the mouth that denotes, I've got him, and you will all do as I say. In our second photograph, we see once again that Harry's wife has found that camera, eyes boring into it. And of course, she strides ahead of the lapdog, the ginger poodle who is trying to catch up, his arm outstretched as if to reach for her hand. But she's not taking it. No need. She's in front. She leads the way, the pioneer, forging ahead while he brings up the rear, relegated to second position, which of course was all demonstrated in the recent ridiculous Time 100 photograph. Note the purposeful stride forward, the eyes locked upon the camera, and once again that satisfied smug smile of, it's all about me. Harry's under control because he's trailing after her. That control has been asserted, and therefore it continues to be asserted, and there's no need to make any alteration to it. Control has been achieved over him. Now it's time to control the viewer of these photographs, the thought fuel flowing of all of the people that are looking at me as I stride purposely across the road. No doubt there's some soundtrack playing in her head, something suitably inspiring and monumental as she, Queen Harry's wife, crosses the road, an event that should have its own book. Once more we see the fixed eyes boring into the camera lens, the smug smile. Control is achieved over the intimate partner primary source, which is Prince Harry. And, of course, control is seeking to be asserted over those who will be looking down the lens and the general thought of the people viewing the photograph. The sense of control manifests with that confident gait. The fuel has been flowing. The smile, smug as it is, and devoid of any genuine warmth, also notes the sense of control that's being achieved and the fact that the fuel has flowed. In our next photograph, we see another photograph from the infamous Inskip wedding. And at this point, a number of captions that spring to mind. Perhaps some black magic is being weaved here. Arafnachno Uthna Gethbasa is being whispered. Perhaps there's unseen poisons pouring from the mouth into the dumbstruck Harry, who stares dead ahead as he's becoming enchanted and hypnotized by the enchantress hanging off his left shoulder. Or alternatively, she's whispering, "I've still got the photographs, ginger bollocks, with that great big dildo of doom wedged up your yitter. So you better come back to me, otherwise they're going to appear in the Super Soaraway Sun." Yoicks, thinks Harry, better do as I'm told. Or perhaps she's saying, "You see that pineapple on the table in front of you? If you don't come back to me, I'm going to shove that where the sun don't shine. And although I know you kind of like that kind of thing, it's going in a manner where I'll twist it around until you shriek, and all the ginger hairs will fall off your little shrunken head. How you like me now, ginger boy?" Of course, what's actually going on, despite the fevered imaginations that might be running over time, determining what's actually being said, is that we can see that Harry is being brought under control once again. He's staring ahead, somewhat transfixed and dumbstruck, as Harry's wife brings him under control, both hands upon him. "You're going nowhere. You belong to me." Hand across the back and round the neck, and the other hand upon the arm, clasping him, holding him in position as she talks to him. Note the fixed, intent gaze, leaning in far too close to him. He's not even looking at her. Perhaps he's so amazed at the fact that she appears to have got 3 hands, and one is firmly squeezing his pink pancakes. Who knows? But the fact is, this photograph once again denotes the assertion of control over him in a physical way. Harry's wife often does this. We've seen the grip of doom. We've seen the repeated ushering of him with the hand upon the back, guiding him as to where he should go. And now is almost getting him in a grapple. Hand around the back, one on the arm, leaning in, staring intent, no doubt telling him the way it's going to be, what things that he should do, as he has no choice but to sit and listen. A direct assertion of control to bring Harry very much under control once again. Our next photograph also comes from the Inskip wedding. Here, control has been achieved. At this juncture, we can see an almost dejected-looking Harry staring down, either in a zombie state or just accepting his fate of, "Shit, she's captured me again, but she did promise me some spicy poontang action, so I'm down with that." Harry's wife, of course, has got a firm grasp on him, the grip of doom clutching onto his hand. And Harry almost looks like C-3PO when he's powered down. But Harry's wife isn't taking any chances, fingers interwoven with his, holding him in place as she authoritatively tells the waiter, "Bring me something that'll keep him like a good boy for the next 24 hours. Can you concoct something whereby he'll still be able to get a boner, but he won't be able to run away? Can you magic that up for me, Mr. Waiter?" At least that appears to be what she's suggesting, as she's making the internationally recognised symbol for a drink, and therefore is instructing that some kind of concoction must be forthcoming. Irrespective of what's actually being said to the waiter, whilst entertaining, it's irrelevant. What actually matters here is the fact that Harry is under control once again. This picture shows that Harry's wife has directly asserted control over him in a physical manner. She's clinging onto him by gripping his hand, and that he's no doubt now being led away somewhere, taken to a particular place where he gets his reward for being a good boy and coming back under her control. He isn't looking at the waiter, he's staring down. It might be that he's banjaxed from too many drinks, or it's a combination of the fact that he's very much in her thrall once again, he's submissive and under her control. She thrusting forward, leading the conversation, asking for the drink. She is in the driving seat once again, just where she wants to be and needs to be in order to assert control over Prince Harry. And so, to our next photograph, we can see Prince Harry earnestly explaining something. "How was I to know that if I left the tops off my felt tips they would dry out? Nobody explained that to me when I studied art and got a D." He's perplexed as he explains that particular point. But Harry's wife isn't interested, because it's not about her. You see, where you talk about something else which has nothing to do with us, you're not actually providing us with any fuel, because your reaction isn't to us. Of course, if we've asked you to talk about something and you respond, you're responding to what we've asked you to do, and therefore that is fuel. But if you just happen to be recounting your day and we've not asked you about it, then you're talking about yourself, and it's of no real interest to us, because it doesn't provide us with anything. You're not providing us any fuel. You are, in a sense, threatening our control, because you're making it about you rather than about us. And here, one can see from Harry's wife's luck that she isn't interested. Indeed, the jaw is forward and the eyes are staring, that what Harry has to say is threatening her control in some way. I suspect that he's not actually criticising her, which of course would be a challenge to control, and which would indeed cause her to respond with the look on the face that she has there, but rather he's probably talking about some other subject, which is not providing her with any fuel, which is threatening her sense of control, and therefore we get this bored, contemptuous look upon her face. Essentially, her unconscious is saying, I'm no interested in what you've got to say, Beardy. This is completely pointless and irrelevant. You should be talking about me. You should be, for instance, wondering why my ring isn't even bigger and why you shouldn't have bought me a much larger ring than the one that I'm sporting at the current time. Or you should be admiring my style icon, nature, pointing out that what I'm wearing is both fashionable and ethically organic and equitable. Whatever Harry's talking about, it doesn't meet with her approval, because he's not providing with fuel and he's also threatening her control. And therefore her response to that is not to take an active interest in what interests her spouse, as somebody with emotional empathy would do, but it is rather to sit there with a look of contempt and boredom upon her face, as if to say, I really couldn't give two fucks about what you're talking about. Once again, the veneer between her and Prince Harry, and the facade generally, because it looks like they're in a crowd situation, has fallen by the wayside, albeit momentarily, as the narcissism can't but help allow her to show what's really going on. That control is being threatened, and therefore the chin is forward, the eyes boring downwards, no doubt as the narcissism is gearing up to cause her to say or do something which will shift the focus back onto her, meaning she receives the fuel and ensures that control is once again asserted over Prince Harry. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.